Well, Christmas is coming early because this is an election year, and Christmas will be, well, throughout October and in the very first part of November, because the candidates are going to be promising this, that, and the other thing, all kinds of, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to cut. Well, here's John. I listened to John McCain's speech by accident this morning. Oh, by the way, we're in a recession. Anybody hadn't noticed, we're in a McCain-Bush recession. And John McCain, John McCain was promising all kinds of tax cuts here, tax cuts for business, tax cuts for the truly unneedy wealthy, tax cuts for even the middle class are going to get to everyone, tax cuts for everyone, business and corporations, and I've got to say, maybe Mr. McCain, Senator Mr. McCain, has forgotten the state of the national budget. And here, I'm going to remind him and you folks out in YouTube land, the state of our federal budget. We're broke. We're broke. And here's how broke we are. This is in constant dollars. Now this starts in 1940 on the left, and it goes to the present time. But you can see we were in pretty good, around $2 trillion in debt. After the war ran up quite a bit of debt, and World War II I'm talking about. World War II, we ran up quite a bit of debt, and then it leveled off to around $2 trillion, which is not too bad. As long as your economy is going pretty good, you can handle some debt. Well, but in the 1980s, you can see 1975, 1980, and I recall that was when Ronald Reagan came in, the great supply sider. Yeah, the great supply sider. You were going to have your cake and eat it too, which meant that the taxes would be cut, but magically everything else in the budget was going to get paid for, even when the taxes were going to get low. And that meant that the huge defense spending increases under Ronald Reagan to defeat the evil empire, which was the Soviet Union at that point, the tax increase, and of course Ronald Reagan was not going to go near Social Security, because there were a lot of elderly people that voted for Mr. Reagan. Older people vote very regularly, and they were getting Social Security. They still do get Social Security. It's one of the things that keeps them afloat financially. So Ronald Reagan wasn't going to go after us. He wasn't going to cut Social Security. No way. So he wasn't going to cut Social Security. He wasn't going to cut defense. Those are the two biggest parts of the budget. So John McCain and also Barack Obama are promising all kinds of stuff, and but no sacrifice, of course. Nobody's going to have to pay. Well, certainly with John McCain, nobody's going to have to pay taxes. Pretty much, just ignore the idea of taxes, because we might as well abolish taxes, because they're just, who wants to pay taxes? God dang. And here, let me just show you Alaska. This is spending in Alaska. It's federal spending. Hold on. Yeah, the federal spending in Alaska, Sarah Palin and her, tanks but no tanks. No, Sarah was taking the money right and left, and you can see right at the bar at the very right, 1,000 per capita, Wasilla. That's 1,000 for every resident of Wasilla in federal earmark spending. They hit the jackpot, or the gold mine. It's a new kind of Alaska gold mine, but it's kind of a strange gold mine because the vein runs from Washington all the way up to Alaska. But wait, I'm going on and on. let me try to make this shorter. Well, here's Johnny McCain talking about what he would do as he's going to do X, Y, and Z as president. You know, these are all promises, X, Y, and Z. Let's just look at the past. And then you look at John McCain's already been involved with one huge savings and loan scandal. It was called Lincoln Savings and Loan. It was Lincoln Savings and Loan. Actually, it was in his own state, Arizona. And the guy who ran Lincoln Savings and Loan into the ground, causing huge losses of money, was this guy, Charles Keating. Charles Keating was a friend or associate of John McCain. So this happened in at the end of the 1980s, when deregulation and everything, you know, Republicans go wild sometimes. They don't, on money, they go wild, and they go wild and crazy. And Keating went wild and crazy with loaning money, and he had a bank for just not a relatively short period of time, and it went belly up. And John McCain was involved in that. I don't quite know. I know he was a regulator. So here we are. We're electing a president. Deja vu all over again. We're electing a guy who in 1980 they had the same problem with the S&Ls, the savings and loans. Were making loans right and left, too many. There was deregulation. There was lots of greed, of course. Greed is always a big factor, and stupid greed. Let's call it stupid greed, where people just, the right wing or the Republican businessmen or just businessmen in general, they go they go bananas, and they lose all rational thought. But and here's the end. Flags. This is the bullshit factor that campaigns go to, and the Republicans are so good at bullshit. I mean, they've perfected bullshit. Karl Rove and the bullshit and the landing on the carrier. So they're going to throw flags in, and frankly, I don't like the Democrats doing the same thing with having flags every which way, and you just tripping over flags. You know, you can't turn, and you just bump into a flag everywhere you look. Flags. It gets disgusting. So you get stupid, lame prom. Oh, look at those flags. I'm going to vote for him. Look at how pretty those flags. I'm voting for Johnny McCain. No, promises and flags.